Sometimes, if you get a divorce, everyone assumes that it was nasty, and it's just not always.
Unexpectedly, Billy Bob Thornton has come clean about the true reason for his unexpected breakup with Angelina Jolie. Watch this film to find out what really happened during their brief relationship, marriage, and the shocking divorce that happened 20 years ago. Be sure to keep reading to the very end because I have some shocking revelations that have been kept secret for a long time. Your whole worldview will be shattered by this tale. Life before Angelina Jolie was famous. Angelina Jolie was born into a creative household in Los Angeles, California on June 4, 1975. Her famous Oscar-winning father, Jon Voight, was an actor, and her famous mother, Marceline Bertrand, was also an actress. Even though Jolie comes from famous parents, her childhood wasn't always picture perfect. Her parents separated when she was only a year old, and their marriage was rocky. From that point on, Jolie's mother took care of her 3 children, Angelina, James Haven, and Jolie, giving up her acting career. Despite the challenges, this sacrifice had a great impact on Jolie's youth. Her connection with her father was, to put it mildly, strained. For a long time, Jolie fought animosity against Jon Voight, attributing his emotional estrangement and absences to him. His infidelity wounded her deeply. She blamed it for the breakdown of her family. She severed all ties with the Voight surname and avoided him for a long time due to the intense hostility between them. While Jolie grew up in New York and then Los Angeles with her mother, she wasn't always inspired to follow in her parents' footsteps as actors. But she had a special ambition: to work as a funeral director. She was so committed to that field of work that she even started classes for it when she was a kid. However, life had other plans for her, and she didn't even know it yet. For Jolie, adolescence was a difficult time. She had a hard time fitting in at university and often felt like an outsider. Jolie did not conform to expectations and was the target of ridicule due to her unconventional appearance and unusual sense of style. She retreated and felt lonely as a result of the psychological impacts of her isolation, which she has been open about. She battled with destructive thoughts and self-harm, but these trials ultimately gave her the resilience she would reveal to the world. Not until the mid-1990s did Jolie's natural acting chops begin to shine through. Her breakout role came in the TV movie Gia, playing the role of supermodel Gia Karangi. In 1998, she was honored with a Golden Globe for her raw and heartfelt performance. A year later, in Girl Interrupted, her portrayal as Lisa Rowe, a defiant and mentally disturbed patient, marked the real turning point, however. Jolie's excellent performance earned her the Best Supporting Actress Oscar, solidifying her status as one of Hollywood's most accomplished actors. Both Jolie's career and the public's adoration of her skyrocketed. Her unpredictability and boldness earned her the nickname Wild Child in Hollywood. She ceded years of tabloid claims at the 2000 Oscars when she passionately kissed her brother James, making it one of the most famous occurrences of that year. The allegations swirled, but Jolie was busy making her mark in Hollywood and beyond. Even in her private life, where she took on the responsibilities of a mother, philanthropist, and performer, her fearless and independent spirit shone through. In 2002, Jolie's life took a dramatic turn when she adopted Maddox, her first child, from Cambodia. Her growing family was only at the beginning. Subsequently, in 2005, she adopted Zahara from Ethiopia, and in 2007, she adopted Pax from Vietnam, creating a diverse and loving household for all of her children. Even though Jolie's private life was the center of attention, her philanthropic activities garnered just as much attention. She visited war-torn countries including Iraq, South Sudan, and Syria to raise awareness about the plight of refugees. As an ambassador for the UN High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, she attempted to provide support to some of the world's most defenseless people, recognizing her dedication to helping those in need. In addition to being one of the most celebrated actors of all time, Angelina Jolie is now known as a mother, an advocate for the voiceless, and a humanitarian. Her journey, both on and off screen, is one of overcoming obstacles, being herself, and making a difference. The story of Jolie's incredible energy, resilience, and passion, from her humble origins to her incredible accomplishments, is very inspiring. The Billy Bob Thornton relationship. Before she met Billy Bob Thornton, Jolie had achieved professional and personal success while facing personal challenges. While Thornton and his then-girlfriend were in the spotlight for their love, their early years were everything but Hollywood. Billy Bob Thornton was born on August 4, 1955, in the little town of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and spent his childhood there. His clairvoyant mother, Virginia Roberta, and high school history teacher and basketball coach William Raymond Thornton were his parents. The pragmatist and mystic views of Thornton's parents shaped his complex personality. A life of simplicity and hard work was Thornton's upbringing. Early on, he began doing odd jobs to help support his family. His early exposure to rock, roll, country, and blues music inspired him to pick up the guitar and drums. It was not an easy task, however, to leave rural Arkansas for the big city of Hollywood in pursuit of a goal. After finishing high school, Thornton worked low-paying jobs, including fast food and road construction, while playing in local bands. He packed up his guitar and headed west in the late 70s, leaving Arkansas behind, determined to make it big as a musician. Billy Bob had a rough start in Hollywood. He had a hard time landing regular gigs, much like a lot of other aspiring artists. His perseverance and inherent talent got him into the entertainment industry in the end, despite all the obstacles. He often spent the night in his automobile and lived in dives. Billy Bob probably felt like an outsider because Hollywood wasn't exactly kind to newcomers. Music was his life, but he quickly realized that making music was just as difficult, if not more so, than performing it. Billy Bob focused on acting and scripting in the hopes that his creative abilities would lead to opportunities. Had Billy Bob been given a chance because of his imagination? Billy Bob's journey is amazing. Let us continue it. With a crime drama in which he co-wrote and starred in 1992, Billy Bob made his film debut. Both critically and commercially, the film was a smashing success. That meant Billy Bob was finally getting his due in Hollywood. However, he didn't achieve widespread fame until the 1996 release of Sling Blade. Not only did he star in the film, but he also directed it and wrote the script. For his portrayal of mentally disabled man Carl Childers, Billy Bob received an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Also, he was named Best Adapted Screenplay at the Academy Awards. With the release of Sling Blade, Billy Bob's career took a dramatic turn for the better. His ability to convey deeply emotional tales earned him acclaim. He became famous as a writer and performer because of these qualities. Being authentic to one's own self, in Billy Bob's view, was crucial to projecting any idealized image. Billy Bob often questioned the celebrity-driven Hollywood system. In interviews, he astonished both his fans and his critics by daring to question the field's superficiality. By staying out of the typical Hollywood game, he solidified his image as a free-thinking, industry-standards-defying thinker and speaker. All of Billy Bob's relationships prior to his one with Angelina Jolie had one thing in common: his complex nature. Despite his explosive personality and boundless energy, Billy Bob sometimes emotionally isolates himself when he is overwhelmed by personal situations. Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton, an incredible love story. The marital journey of Billy Bob Thornton has been fraught with difficulty. Experiencing its ups and downs and unexpected twists is similar to being on a roller coaster. His deep internal conflict between wanting a meaningful connection and wanting to be alone was on full display in all of his previous relationships. Although his relationship with Angelina Jolie was unexpected, no romance had ever been so shocking. Despite their vast cultural differences, these two found themselves entangled in a passionate love affair that was the talk of the town. The 1999 Pushington set was the place where sparks really flew when the couples clashed. Angelina was a young actress navigating the tough Hollywood environment when this happened. She hadn't yet made it as the global superstar she is now, but she was still finding her voice and sometimes wore fringed outfits to show off her defiant side. On the other hand, Billy Bob was director and performer. Billy Bob was making waves at the age of 20. Thanks to his magnetic presence and no-nonsense attitude, he was quite the character. Their connection was obvious right away. For that reason, their origins were irrelevant. To be more precise, it may have been precisely these differences that united them. After just a short time together, Billy Bob and Angelina decided to end their relationship. They took a plane to Sin City in 2000 on a whim, rather than go the traditional Hollywood engagement process. Who needs a huge wedding when you can celebrate your marriage in an authentic and wild way? Even though it raised some eyebrows, it seemed normal to them. They made headlines for their out-of-the-ordinary public demonstrations of adoration as their love story played out like a Hollywood film. They spoke a lot about how they would wear vials of each other's blood around their necks. They saw it as a symbol of their strong bond, while many others found it unusual. The pressures of fame and the never-ending scrutiny from the media finally got to them, no matter how close they were. Their split shocked the world once again, even though they had been married for 2 years. Supporters were heartbroken as the media went into a frenzy. What caused the rapid breakdown of what seemed like an unbreakable bond? In the next part of this story, we'll look at what led to their divorce, drawing on lessons learned from her connections with Billy Bob. Billy Bob had experienced the ups and downs of marriage 5 times before to his marriage to Angelina. He was affected by every relationship. His 1978 marriage to Melissa Lee Gatlin was short, although it did provide a daughter, Amanda. The pressures of his burgeoning acting career and their shared financial woes likely contributed to their breakup. Without hesitation, Billy Bob plunged headfirst into another relationship. His 1986 marriage to actress Toni Lawrence was tumultuous, as were many of his past unions. Billy Bob was emotionally scarred and determined to find love again after his relationship with her ended in 1988 after just 2 years. Although he wed for the 3rd time in 1990, he met actress Cinda Williams on the set of One False Move. This once exciting marriage ended in 1992 due to both partners' inability to cope with the emotional and practical challenges of their respective careers. As he entered his 30s, Billy Bob had already experienced a fair amount of heartbreak in the realm of love. After 3 marriages, he began to worry that he would never find true happiness. Still, he had a second opportunity in 1993 with Pietra Dawn Cerniak, an actress and model. For a while, Billy Bob's life seemed to be coming together with William and Harry, their 2 sons together. Even though they were happy together, their marriage ended in 1997, just 4 years after. All this inner turmoil weighed heavily on him. His faith in himself and his ability to commit were both eroded by each divorce. After 4 unsuccessful marriages, he began to question his suitability for a committed relationship. Then what gave him the idea that he and Angelina Jolie would be able to work things out? Angelina, his 5th wife, was very different from his prior marriages. After his tumultuous history, Billy Bob had matured emotionally and was wary of rushing into partnerships. He brought his prior experiences with love's fragility into his present relationship with Angelina. Even as a married man, Billy Bob battled anxiety. Being with someone as famous and accomplished as Angelina made him question his own abilities on a regular basis. While she thrived in the limelight and used her fame to make a difference, he preferred a quieter life away from the limelight. Spending so much time in Angelina's orbit became overwhelming. Until she met Billy Bob, Angelina was involved in a number of complicated relationships. She had love interests as well. She married British actor Johnny Lee Miller in 1996, marking her first romantic encounter at a tender age. Their deep attachment for one another blossomed during their time together on The Hackers set in 1995. For their non-traditional wedding, Angelina wore a white top and black leather trousers, and she bore Johnny's name inscribed in her blood. There was Johnny's name in her blood on the shirt as well. However, their intense affair was short-lived. They ended it amicably in 1999 after 3 years of dating. Angelina started having an affair with Billy Bob soon after her marriage to Johnny ended. The passionate and unusual love story between them stole the show during the event, and word quickly spread around Hollywood about their romance. The fact that they were blood relatives and put on some really unusual public shows of affection showed how deep and weird their bond was. Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie's turbulent marriage and the highs and lows of their love for one another make it very evident that passion and challenges drove their relationship. Despite the difficulties posed by their own worlds, they were both seeking something authentic. Over the course of their narrative, we see an extraordinary blend of love, sadness, and the intricacies of human relationships. The truth about the divorce. Despite their intense love for one another, Billy Bob's concerns ultimately led to the dissolution of their marriage. Their relationship took a hit because he felt out of place in Angelina's philanthropic and famous environment. Not because they didn't love each other, but Billy Bob just couldn't handle being married to a famous person. The more distance Angelina's life became from Billy Bob, the more he realized he couldn't keep up with her. Things became much more difficult due to his anxiety and melancholy, and he had a hard time keeping their bond strong. Billy Bob finally ended the marriage because he felt unworthy and because they were becoming more distant. He doubted his ability to maintain a healthy marriage due to the burden of their public existence, even though he had been open about his mental health difficulties. Finally, Billy Bob and his fiancée came to the conclusion that they should live apart. Despite breaking up the marriage, he said there was no animosity between them. He spoke about Angelina with a lot of love, saying that she was an amazing person who had opened many doors for him in his life. It makes no difference to her moral character or the depth of her love for her marriage that she has decided to seek a divorce. Despite the passage of many years, their cordial relationship remains intact. Despite all that has transpired, they still speak to one another from time to time. Then how is everything progressing? Does the choice they choose meet their requirements? Here, we'll discover. After announcing their split 20 years ago, Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton have now parted ways. After marrying Brad Pitt and having a large family, Angelina Jolie became one of the most famous performers in Hollywood. Her standing outside of Hollywood has grown thanks to her humanitarian work and her advocacy for human rights, both of which have contributed to her acting career. To the contrary, Billy Bob has opted for a quieter, more private lifestyle. Even after they split up, he kept busy with his acting and singing careers, but he tried to stay away from the media attention that Angelina sometimes got. The movies and TV series he was a part of always mirrored his style. Despite breaking up, they were both emotionally stable. Billy Bob was quick to say nice things about Angelina. They kept in touch, and he assured her he respected her. Even though their paths in life were diverging, he stressed that she was a fantastic lady and that they had no animosity toward one another. In an interview, Billy Bob said that her ex-boyfriend did not feel bad about the relationship or its end. Despite the passage of time, they have maintained their mutual respect and moved on. Despite how long this narrative has been around, the love between Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie is still very strong. The adventure that fans have experienced still intrigues them. Billy Bob Thornton has spoken publicly about his breakup with Angelina Jolie at long last, after a gap of 20 years. To see more behind-the-scenes content from your favorite Hollywood celebs, subscribe and hit that like button.